Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yahweh Shai, all praises, honor, and glory be unto Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Akakodash. Double honor to our apostles and elders at Great Millstone who taught us his truth and who rule well. Peace, love, salutation, and mercy be unto the hopeful elect. What tickled me is when I hear so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans speak about their rights in this place. And you don't have any rights. You know, I don't know if you know, but slaves don't have rights. You know, only privileges. You know, the privileges that are, afforded them by the rich elite banking families. And that's the reason that you should be praying to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shai to burst your bonds. And it mentions that within the book of Jeremiah, the 30th chapter, in the 17th verse, I believe, or the 8th verse, Salaki, not the 17th verse, but the 8th verse, which reads, it says, "For it shall come to pass in that day, saith Yahweh of hosts, that I will break his yoke from off thy neck, and will burst thy bonds, and strangers shall no more serve themselves of him." Because right now, at this moment, we're still in slavery. And I don't know why you think that you have rights. And it's about to be shown how much rights you have. All right, because all of your rights that you believe that you have, your privileges that have been afforded you by the rich elite, they're getting ready to take it away. And an example can be found in this article from Zero Hedge. It says, "Watch police tell pastor your rights are suspended while busting up drive-in church service." Well, first of all, you're holding a fucking drive-in church service, and they're praying in front of people's cars to pretty much observe social distancing. And then they're sprinkling holy oil, on their hoods. Man, you jakes are bugged the hell out. All right. And if you ever thought Christians were crazy before, I'm going to put this article in the description box and you can watch it for yourself. And there's a part within this there's a part within this article, Salakia, in which inspired this video, which the name of this church, let's get the information on that. Let's see. I'm going to read a little bit of the article, the top part of the article, but I'm going to jump down. All right, because look forward to the suspension of the Constitution. And I first, heard of the Constitution, all right, being suspended when Apostle Tahar mentioned it within this video. But in order for Esau to declare martial law, in which martial law is in effect, but it's a soft martial law, eventually it's going to get worse, as things progress, as the grinding continue to cease, as jobs continue to be lost, as people look for answers from their leaders, all right, and their the people that are in charge, as it states within the book of 2nd Ezra in the 15th chapter, because these are the times that we're in. All right, 2nd Ezra, the 15th chapter, and I believe that's verse 16. It says, "For there shall be sedition among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power." So you're going to have these citizens rise up against these different people that hold, different government positions. They're going to rise up in retaliation. They're going to riot. And that's when they're going to really lock down, and send in the troops. All right. So martial law, it's really in effect, especially when things like this is allowed. Now, reading the article, it says, no doubt this will be a historic Easter Sunday unlike any other, with American Christians by and large watching service from home, whether online or on television, or also in some cases in their cars and church parking lots. Lockdowns across the nation have already triggered fierce First Amendment debates, to which states have in some cases responded very differently. One Florida pastor late last month wound up in handcuffs after defying local authorities' orders to not hold a live church service. But in other states like Texas, governors have declared church an essential service and reaffirmed the Bill of Rights. Freedom of religion protection means police can't go in and shut service down. But in Mississippi, not even drive-in churches is being allowed now. Mississippi is known for being, one of the most gruesome states in regards to the slavery of the so-called Negroes and the things that they did unto them. And that vibration of racism is still alive there. It's just hidden behind, a smile, a fake smile. And what will likely be seen by most American Christians as an example of severe legal overreach and breach of rights against a community clearly enacting health measures recommended by the CDC of social distancing, which they don't give a damn, because ain't nobody gonna come and penalize them, for doing this. Now reading, it says your rights are suspended. One police officer days ago told a local pastor who planned to hold modified drive-up services. All right, which the reason that this pastor, from King James Bible Baptist Church in Greenville, Mississippi, the only reason that he's still trying to hold those church service is because he still wants that money coming in. That's the only thing, man. All right, because church ain't nothing but a business. All right, which is it's afforded privileges through a 501c3 tax exemption. That's the reason why you don't see many pastors, speaking out against, things like the H word, or the L word, or the D word, or the alphabet, you know what I'm talking about, the LGBTQXYZ. That's what I'm talking about. They don't speak out against that. They don't speak out against, political issues because they can't, because they have a gag order in their mouth. It happened in the city of Greenville, Mississippi, where King James Bible Baptist Church previously enacted this drive-in format after a statewide shelter-in-place order was issued by the governor early this month. So, this church pretty much, they're upset because they busted down their faulty service that they were holding. And this is what the pastor said. I just want to go down to it and I want to read it. And this is a quote, I believe somebody quoted this. Okay, this is the correspondence. It says, "We got an order from the governor. Your rights are suspended." This is what the cop said. It says, "Since when did Mississippi governor declare martial law?" Reading on, it says, "Martial law is the imposition of direct military control or normal civil functions by a government. Unalienable rights can't be suspended." You niggas don't have rights in this place, man. All right. And I believe this is the image of this guy, the pastor, this black ass dude right here. There's nothing wrong with being dark skinned, but this figure right here, man, you can tell that he's a super cool man. And you enjoy those privileges that were afforded you by the rich elite banking family. All right, but those privileges are about to be taken away. Now, in this response, the pastor said, "We're talking about the Constitution, First and Second Amendment that was given to us by our forefathers." The fuck you mean your forefathers? Your forefathers, which is Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, they didn't create the American Constitution. Esau doesn't live according to the Constitution of the Bible. All right. And matter of fact, he's not even a part of the Constitution of the Bible. All right. The law, statutes, and commandments, the first and second covenant is given unto the house of Israel. And that's all. That's all. The covenant that you've made with Esau will be disannulled. And this is an example that it's being disannulled. This is the book of Isaiah, the 28th chapter, and the 18th verse, which reads, it says, "And your covenant with death shall be disannulled, and your agreement with hell shall not stand. When the overflowing scourge shall pass through, then ye shall be trodden down by it. All right. So what does it mean by covenant? The word there in Hebrew is barayath, which means an alliance or a pledge between men, treaty, alliance, a league, a constitution, an ordinance, an agreement. So whatever you think that you have with Esau, that shit is being disannulled, and he's showing you, that within, suspending the Constitution under this soft martial law. Now, there's a such thing as habeas corpus, and according to Wikipedia, it says the suspension clause of the United States Constitution specifically included the English common law procedure in Article 1, Sections 9, Clause 2, which demands that the privilege, you hear what that say? It says the privilege of the writ habeas corpus shall not be suspended unless when in cases of rebellion, of invasion, the public safety may require it. Now, if you see how they're treating this corona thing, they're treating it like they're at war. And that's the talk that they talk when in regards to, speaking on the coronavirus. Every time Trump, gets on, his nationwide addresses, all right, he mentions the coronavirus as an invisible enemy and pretty much that they're at war. So therefore, they're using this to do what? To suspend the Constitution. All right, habeas corpus, which means that in order for them to lock you up and to put you in jail, all right, that they will have to bring you before the judge, and that the judge would have to, submit a body of evidence, all right, to prove that you've committed a crime. They don't have to do that within these times. They can just take you and lock you up indefinitely. All right, if they wanted to, like they put this pastor in handcuffs. This is from Google. Habeas corpus, or the Great Writ, is the legal procedure that keeps the government from holding you indefinitely without showing cause. So right now, they don't need a cause to lock you up and to put you in jail. When you challenge your detention by filing a habeas corpus petition, so they will have to show the body or the evidence of the crime, all right, the body of the crime, in order to lock you up. But right now, they don't have to do that. They can say that you're defying their orders that were set in place. All right, that you're not complying with social distancing, that you're not complying with the military or the cops that are in power during this time. So they can take you and lock you up indefinitely. The executive branch must explain to a neutral judge its jurisdiction for holding you. All right, so they will have to come up with a reason for holding you. But right now, that isn't the case, man. Now, in regards to covenants, all right, our covenant is between us and Yahushua and the Most High Heavenly Father, not between us and the heathens. When it comes down to the heathens, the scripture says in the book of Exodus 23 and 32, all right, it says, thou shalt make no covenant with them, nor with their gods. All right, but here it is. You're claiming that your forefathers wrote the Constitution. Your forefathers didn't write the Constitution of America. All right, the so-called white man, which is an Edomite, all right, they wrote this for themselves, man. And at the time, all right, on September 17th, 1787, your people were still in slavery and not considered human beings. All right, you were considered less than animals. You were slaves, and therefore you didn't have any rights. You only had privileges that your slave master afforded you. And the same thing applies now. Hey, going over to the book of Habakkuk, all right, because who's deaf in hell? All right, it's the so-called white man that's deaf in hell. All right, that's who deaf in hell is. And the scripture says this concerning death and hell. And why did the scriptures call him deaf in hell? Because everywhere that he go, that's what he bring, death and hell. Habakkuk 2 and 5. It says, yea, also because he transgresseth by wine, he is a proud man, neither keepeth at home, who enlargeth his desire as hell, and is as death, and cannot be satisfied, but gather unto himself all nations, and heapeth unto himself all people. And that's what he did concerning this land, all right, that you live in and you believe that you have privilege, you have rights in. Hey, the so-called white man, he came over here, he conquered Gad, he conquered Reuben, he conquered Issachar, and he set up America and established the Constitution. And like I said, on September 17th, 1787, for themselves, not for you. All right, they consider you to be a slave. And guess what? A slave doesn't have any rights, only privileges. And that's the reason why they give you a license. That's the reason why you have to have a license. That's the reason why you have to have so-called contracts. That's the reason why they give you the 501c3 tax exemption. All right, which the definition of license, it says grant a license to someone or something to permit the use of something or to allow an activity to take place. So Esau he has the power over you to say whether your activities can take place or not, whether you can drive or not, whether you can work or not, which shows you what? That you're still a slave. If you wasn't, then you would just have natural God-given rights, which this devil takes away. But real quick, two precepts, both coming out of the book of Maccabees. One is going to be in 2 Maccabees, the 4th chapter in the 11th verse. And this is, if I'm not mistaken, this is dealing with one of our people who decided that he wanted to become Greek and make his nation Greek. 2 Maccabees 4:9, it says, besides this, he promised to assign 150 more. All right, if he might have license, all right, to set up a place of exercise and for the training up of the youth in the fashion of the heathen, and to write them of Jerusalem by the name of Antiochus. And hey, if you go into the Christian church, that's all the Christian church is doing. It's teaching you to be a citizen of America, man. All right, to be a good slave for Esau, Edom, because that's the whole reason that the Christian church was set up, going back into slavery. They set up certain pastors and certain leaders to keep the slaves in order. That's the reason why they attack this ministry that we're a part of, the words that we speak, because we speak of another government outside of this, which is the government of Yahweh being established, where you really will have rights, you know, and not privileges. All right, you only have rights within your own commonwealth. Reading on, it says, and when the king had granted, all right, he had gotten into his hand the rule, he forthwith brought his own nation to Greekish fashions. So here it is, this guy brought his nation into Greekish fashion. It says, in the royal privileges granted of special favor to the Jews by the means of John, the father of Eupolemus, all right, who went ambassador to Rome for amity and aid, all right, he took away and put down the governments, all right, which were according to the law. All right, he brought up new customs against the law. So here it is, the Romans gave the Israelites during this time certain privileges. All right, not freedom, not rights. They were given privileges. We won't really have rights until we're in the kingdom of heaven. That's when we'll be free. All right, you're not free here. You don't have freedom, because really that's what license means. License comes from the Latin word licentio, which means freedom. Well, if you were free, you wouldn't have to go to a heathen or anybody for any rights. 1 Maccabees 1:13, which reads, it says, then certain of the people were so forward herein that they went to the king, who gave them license to do after the ordinance of the heathen. All right, which is a license to sin. All right, in America, they tell you that you can be the H word. All right, that a dude can deal with a dude, man. All right, that you can be a she-male. All right, that you can be a man that dresses up like a woman. All right, or you can be a woman that dresses like a man, and a woman that deals with other women. That's a license to sin. All right, and the scripture says, according to the book of Sirach, the 15th chapter, I believe, in verse 20, which reads, it says, he have commanded no man to do wickedly, neither hath he given any man license to sin. So Yahweh hasn't given us freedom to sin, but hey, here in America, they'll give you freedom to sin. All right, but when you turn away from wickedness and you turn into righteousness, all right, then you make yourself a prey within this place, man. When you want to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai, you don't have liberty to do that, to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai according to the way that the law is supposed to be. There's certain things that are righteous according to the Bible that this place deems wicked, man. So they don't live according to the rights of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. They don't live according to the law of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. But they've established their own law. And their law, according to Wisdom of Solomon, the 2nd chapter, is the law of justice. All right, which they frame out of mischief. In this place, you don't really have freedom. All right, but you have privileges that are granted you by the rich elite, the people that are in charge of this place. Now, when it comes down to being lasciviousness, all right, which is another way of saying licentiousness, which means to have full, it means to be full of license, to be unrestrained. That you can celebrate certain holidays, you can celebrate other gods. All right, you can celebrate other deities. Those are privileges that are given to you in this place. All right, according to the license that Esau gives to you. All right, but you're demonized when you turn away from that. Hey, this is 1 Peter's the 4th chapter, and I believe that's the third verse. Now I'll start at 2. It says that he no longer should live the rest of the time in the flesh to the lust of men, but to the will of the Most High. All right, for the time past of our life may suffice us to have wrought the will of the Gentiles, when we walk in lasciviousness, lust, excess of wine, reveling, banqueting, and abominable idolatries. All right, wherein they think it strange that you run not with them to the same excess of rioting, speaking evil of you. So when we no longer want to wrought the will of the Gentiles, to walk in those freedoms that they provide, to worship other gods, to worship Satan, to perform their holidays, all right, to put up with their certain laws in regards that allow, faggotry. When we don't want to deal with that form of liberty that they offer you, that form of freedom, all right, we're demonized. So we can't serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai the way that we want to in this place. Because you don't have any
Strong's G 766.
You don't have
As El Gaya.
You don't have the Yahweh given rights. As El Gaya, which means unbridled lust, excess, licentiousness. All right, that's the word I want to deal with. All right, which comes from licentia, which means freedom. So in this place, you got freedom to do wicked things. But when it comes down to the freedom to serve Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai in righteousness, man, they take that away. When it comes down to judging righteously, guess what? According to the book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter, in the 1st verse, it says, woe to them that decree unrighteous decree and right grievousness, which they have prescribed. So what they have prescribed, there's certain laws that are on the books. They can take them, they can manipulate them, they can change them, they can take them away. All right, they can uphold it only in regards to you, but when it comes down to them, acquit themselves. All right, the so-called rights that you're afforded by the Most High Heavenly Father, they take those away. Verse 2, it says to turn aside the needy from judgment and to take away the right from the poor of my people, that the widows may be their prey and that they may rob the fatherless. So the rights that you thought that you had, all right, or the rights that we're supposed to have, they take away. All right, and they don't judge righteously. All right, all of their judgments is unrighteously. And they create so many different laws for you to break just so that they can, incriminate you. So that according to their constitution, they can incarcerate you and make you a slave. But now they're suspending the Constitution, and they don't have to, pretty much prove before a judge what you have done to break the law. They can just lock you up indefinitely. So those times, that were spoken about within the scriptures where they were going to take us and cast us into prison, all right, that time is nigh. Revelations, the 2nd chapter, verse 10, it says, fear none of those things which thou shalt suffer. Behold, the devil shall cast some of you into prison, that ye shall be tried, and ye shall have tribulation 10 days. All right, be thou faithful unto death, and I will give thee a crown of life. So they're not just going to take the men of the Lord and cast them into jail. all right, and to cast them into prison, but they're going to cast Israelites in general into prison. But the men of the Lord, they're going to be suffering righteously. All right, you people are going to go through your form of judgment for not obeying Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Hell, here it is, you're fighting to be a part of the constitution of this place. All right, you will go out and march, you will picket and protest. All right, but you're not fighting for the kingdom of heaven. All right, you're not fighting for your own laws. You're not fighting for your own government. All right, you're not fighting for your own commonwealth, man. The book of 2 Maccabees, the 13th chapter, verse 13, and Judas being apart with the elders determined before the king's host should enter into Judea and get the city to go forth and try the matter, all right, and fight for the help of, fight by the help of Yahweh. So when he had committed all to the creator of the world, he exhorted his soldiers to fight manfully, all right, even unto death for the laws, all right, the temple, the city, the countrymen, and the commonwealth, all right, he camped by Modin. Now, what is a commonwealth? All right, you're only a part of the commonwealth if you're a citizen. So therefore, you're afforded rights. You don't have rights until, all right, we enter into the kingdom of heaven, man. That's when we'll have rights, because that's when we'll be free and no longer slaves under Esau, Edom anymore. So to grab the etymology of the word commonwealth, the etymology of the word commonwealth means commonwealth, a community, whole body of people in a state, from common and wealth, all right, specifically state with a republican or democratic form of government. It says as anybody of a person united by some common interests. All right, so the so-called white man doesn't have common interests with you, man. All right, that's the reason why he rules over you with despotism or with rigor. All right, he wants you to be slaves and he wants to be your master. And that's the reason why they want to roll out the RFID chip, the mark of the beast. All right, Esau wants to put you back in slavery. Going over to the book of Ephesians, and this is Ephesians, the 2nd chapter. All right, in the 16th verse, no, matter of fact, 12, it says that at that time, ye were without Mashiach, being aliens from the commonwealth of Israel, and strangers from the covenants of promise, having no hope and without the Most High in the world. Now, one would read this and they would think that this is speaking about, all right, the natural Gentiles. No, but this is speaking about Israelites that were in a Gentile state of mind. All right, because when it comes down to the commonwealth of Israel, all right, let's deal with the word commonwealth within, all right, the Greek, which the word there is politae. And it says the administration of civil affairs, a state or commonwealth, citizenship, the rights of a citizen. All right, when it comes down to certain rights in the kingdom of Israel, you Edomites and you other nations, you ain't got no rights. All right, which ultimately this goes back to, all right, the Constitution of Israel or the covenant of Israel. And now who's the covenant of Israel for? When you go into the book of Hebrews, the 8th chapter, and you go into the 8th verse, it says, for finding fault with them, all right, he said, behold, the days come, said Yahweh, when I will make a new covenant with the house of Israel and with the house of Judah. All right, you want to know the position that you other nations are going to have within the kingdom of heaven? Hey, well, it tells you in the book of Isaiah, the 14th chapter. All right, and the 2nd verse, it says, and the people shall take them and bring them to their place, and the house of Israel shall possess them in the land of Yahweh for servants and handmaids, and they shall take them captives whose captives they were, and they shall rule over their oppressors. So that's what's going to happen to you. I offend the nation of Israel. So guess what? The only thing you're going to have in the kingdom of heaven is the privileges that we afford you. And when it comes down to you Edomites and you other nations, you ain't going to have none. Now for 1,000 years, you ain't going to have none in regards to the other nations. But then you're going to go back to living your regular lives. Now, after 1,000 years, Esau, Edom is going to be completely done away with. He is going to be completely done away with. This is Jeremiah 30:16. It says, therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all they that prey upon thee shall be a prey. For I will restore health unto thee, and will heal thee of all thy wounds, saith Yahweh, because they called thee an outcast, saying, This is Zion whom no man seeketh after. So this is what you should be looking for. This is what you should be fighting or preaching is coming and telling our people to hope for. But other you so-called pastors and so-called leaders, you know, that you're trying to assimilate the people within this society. You're conditioning the people's mind to fight to keep this society alive. You should be in the mind state of calling upon the Lord to destroy this place so that you can really have freedom and really have rights. Because in this place, you don't have any rights. You only have privileges that are afforded you by the rich elite banking family. And whenever they want, as it's shown within that article, they can take it away. They can suspend it. All they have to do is induce martial law. And guess what? All of your rights are gone away. So at that point, it's either comply or die. Which shows what? That shows that you're really not free, man. So really, you should be looking forward to the kingdom of heaven being established. And Yahweh Shai is on his way. You know, he's nigh at hand. All right, to establish that kingdom. All right, and what he's going to do to you other nations, he's going to put you under his foot. Which means that you're going to be under our feet as well. So get ready for that, man. All right, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, you ain't got no rights here. All right, this ain't our city. So therefore, we ain't a part of this commonwealth. Matter of fact, within the book of Hebrews, the 13th chapter, in verse 14, and I'll end off on this, it says, For here we have no continuing city, but we seek one to come. And what is the word for a city? The word there is polis. Now this is a root word for politae, which means a city, one's native city, the city in which one lived, the heavenly Jerusalem. That's what we're looking forward to. All right, that government that's going to come down from on high. All right, Yahweh. All right, Yahweh Shai, King David, the 144,000, man. All right, that ruling body in which we're going to be a part of that new covenant, which is going to be fully implemented in the kingdom of heaven, not you other nations. That's our commonwealth that we're looking forward to. We don't give a damn about your constitution, because anything that Esau writes on paper, it doesn't mean shit anyway. Because Esau can suspend that shit, man. So this ain't our rest. All right, and here we ain't got no freedoms. We're slaves, man. Pray to Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushua to deliver us from this bitch. Shalom.